Hello, everybody. Notice the better lighting. The ring light is up there, and I'll have to play with it a little more and figure things out. And I have to play with iMovie, so you might see edits and pictures. Oh, yes, the channel's advancing because I have to learn new skills, or can't send audition tapes, and then I don't make any money, and well, then I die. But because no money, no food, and I'll die before I go back to landscaping. That is one promise I made to myself that is under my control, and I will not bend the knee. So, an important topic that came to my mind, and we're going to try to dispel this. So, a big movement now is like the men's rights, MGTOW, um, stuff like that, Manosphere. I think the king of it's Andrew Tate, Top G. Kind of a douchebag. I mean, what I can tell, would anybody, or specifically would any woman, really give him the time of day if he wasn't so rich? I mean, he is ripped as shit. I'll give him that, but he's also bald, kind of short, douche. And their biggest thing is hypergamy. Hypergamy basically means a woman wants a man who makes more than her, which is hypocritical if said woman identifies as a feminist, because it's all about, equality and not adhering to traditional roles in relationships. But the most traditional role for a man is provider. But now that, colleges are graduating more women than men, that may not be the case, particularly among professional women, or it'll severely limit your dating pool. And the question does arise that if it is true, why is it so important? And I believe it's largely a myth. Yes, you often see women on podcasts such as theirs where that is the case, but those are the party girls, like the Instagram models. They're the people that want attention. They crave attention. They're, look at me, look at me. Like, they're the ones that their whole life is keeping up with the Joneses, and look what I have and you don't, and shit like that. Boomerism. And the same goes for, for guys like Tate. Look at me, I have a girl 20 years younger than me. Look at me. They're the party crowd. Their whole value is based on material things, luxury material things, not, needed things, and getting attention from others. I mean, personally, I hope it's just a small set of women, because if something like, for example, if a woman is willing to be with a man she hates and isn't attracted to simply so she could drive a Ferrari instead of a Honda, yeah, I don't want anything to do with somebody like that. I mean, yes, you need a vehicle, but, to need a luxury sports car, why? Why? What are you trying to prove, and to who? And why is it so important? So, I'm going to test this theory, and I think I'm right, that the majority of women, particularly professional women, which a lot of you who watch my channel are, I'm going to, assuming you're single or pretend that you are, I'm going to give two guys. I did a similar video to this with three guys, Alpha, Beta, and Sigma. But this is, Top G, who makes more than you, despite the fact that you're in the six-figure range yourself, or guy who doesn't, but he has his own unique things that most men can't do, even the top Gs. So let's get into it. Guy A, we'll start with the Andrew Tate guy, because they are the type A's. Type A guy. And as far as looks go, we're going to use me, because I'm the guy on the screen. Okay, so you have two guys, and they look exactly alike. They look like this. So they are 6 foot tall. Most women want that. They both have a six-pack. I do. Check my Instagram if you don't believe me. It ain't the greatest six-pack, but nonetheless, it is there. I didn't say it was a good six-pack. I just said it's a six-pack. Better than most. So, 6 foot tall, 6 foot, and let's say you're, both the man and you are approximately 35 years old. And you are a professional woman, making around 150,000. You could be own your own business. You could be a lawyer. You could be a doctor. You could be all kinds of things. But you have a job that you are paid well, and you do not work from home. You go to some kind of office Monday through Friday. Okay, and you worked your ass off for this career, and you greatly believe in this career. Like, you could perhaps be in a field of medicine that you're very passionate about, or you're like a civil rights lawyer and you're, helping people fight things where you went through similar experiences, perhaps like, workplace bullying and hazing, something that I would greatly respect. Or, you're running your own business that you started from scratch years ago, and it's successful, because if you're doing that well, you're doing pretty good. All right, so that's got to set the parameters. So you have Guy A. Now Guy A, he's doing real good for himself. He's making over $500,000. Yeah. He's got a business. He didn't build it. Unlike you, he inherited his. It was, he was handed the keys to the kingdom from daddy, and it was granddaddy who built the business in the 50s after he got out of the army. The Guy A isn't really in the deep conversations. He's into drinking, going out, watching sports, always having guys over, saying what a big shot he is, bragging. He drives a Ferrari, and he's already talked about buying you a Porsche, going on fancy vacations, flying first class, all that. He's semi-famous, and type A guy may be, he may be a CEO like the person I'm describing. He may just be a semi-famous social media person because he's a trustafarian, meaning he's just some guy who inherited money and gets his dividends from capital gains. Perhaps he's, an actor. Now, we're not talking like Brad Pitt, top tier. Like, think like a TV star that you know who it is, but it's not the upper echelon. And he looks like this. And this guy, he's an extrovert, very much extrovert. Let's say he's an ENTP, really beats his chest, thinks he's never wrong. Been with a lot of women, likes to flash his cash, likes to buy things. And you have the option, because you fell for this guy regardless. You fell for him, because the ENTPs are good at that. But this guy's open and honest from day one, and I'll give as much as I disagree with Tate, I gotta give him, because I'm modeling this guy after him, I have to give him credit where credit's due. He doesn't hide what he's about and who he is. Like, he's very upfront with, like, I'm top G, I can cheat, and blah, 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 blah. You driving this, you're driving that. So if you're a materialist, he's your guy. So, type A guy, the top G, he's got what could be considered a mansion in the main line of whatever city you're in. In Philly, it would be like Newtown Square area, like around Aronimink. There's these sprawling mansions. Connections, parties, all that, all the materialism and superficial stuff you could ask for. But he's not going to be there for you when you're down. He's going to be out with his boys, and when he comes home, he expects you to cook for him and whatever friends he brings home, because that's your role. Your role is to always be subservient and submissive to him. But you have a black credit card. If you want a $10,000 Gucci bag, you just go buy it. You are driving that luxury sports car. Get it? You have the latest and greatest of everything. Materialistically, you are essentially living, in that respect, a celebrity lifestyle. But he's upfront with the fact that he's not going to be monogamous, because he's a top G, and he's got all these young, because you're 35, he's got all these early 20-somethings that want to hook up because he's got money and he flashes it. And he tells you up front that's part of the deal, that he can cheat, that he'll try to, keep it on the down low, and he'll come home to you. But that's happening. That is going to happen. But don't worry, you and the kid, because you're going to have a kid in both scenarios, are going to be taken care of because of his money. Now, you would, in that situation, either have to give up the business that you built from scratch, or, put the kid in daycare and pay someone to raise the kid, despite the fact that financially one of you could be the primary caregiver, because in this scenario, in both scenarios, it's not like people who don't have a choice where you need two incomes to survive. But that's type A guy. That's top G. That's if you're looking for hypergamy, there it is. All right, type B guy. Oh yeah, and if I didn't mention it 5 times, that guy's an alpha. Type B guy is a sigma. Now, again, looks like me, 6 foot tall, 6-pack. You're still the successful accountant, lawyer, doctor, small business owner making about 150K a year. But the type B guy, I'll use a couple scenarios for him. Type B guy who's a sigma male, maybe he's a model making 70 grand a year, 70, 80, maybe breaking 100. Maybe he's a firefighter making 65 to 75 grand a year, working 2 days a week. And models have flexible hours too, because it's job to job. It's very gig-like. It's annoying that way. Or maybe I'll give a more realistic one and stop making it about me. Maybe he works for a nonprofit and makes 55 grand a year, but it's a nonprofit that you believe in. Like he's not in it for the money. He believes in the cause, and you also believe in the cause. And this guy, besides his looks, seems to be everything you want. He can cook. He's very empathetic. He listens to you. You love the way that, he looks at you like you're the only girl in the room. When he calls you his dream girl, he means it. He's a demisexual, so you don't have to worry about him cheating because he needs emotional connections, and he can only have that with one girl at a time, and that's you. He's not in the materialism. He wants to be like comfortable and have a comfortable family life, and have a kid that doesn't have to want for anything. But as far as absolutely abhors keeping up with the Joneses, like not only does he not want to do it, he's completely turned off by it and just doesn't care. It's the sigma thing. We don't care that so and so has this $12,000 purse, or this douchebag's driving this car. We don't. Why do I care? Why are we trying to keep up with them? What's so special about them? What makes them the gold standard? Why am I trying to compete with them? What do I win? How do you win this competition? It's boomerism. Whoever dies with the most toys wins. And me and other sigmas just don't play it. So, that's out the window. We're not, to the sigma, it's like, I got my dream girl. At the time, it's like, I got my dream girl, a job I like, and we're going to have a kid. So I won those, and I'm living where I want to live. To a sigma, it's like, what game? I won the game. Game's over. I got the things I wanted. I don't need validation from some douchebag or from some, shallow bitch who will do anything for, you know what I'm saying? What do I need their approval for? Who are they to me? Nothing. So in this scenario now, kids coming, and you got to have the conversation. Well, who's going to take care of the kid? Again, you have this business you built from scratch, and the dude's, he's got a job he likes, but it's not his dream job, because maybe he was, all right, we won't use the fire example for once. For whatever reason, he didn't have the connections to get it. He got the qualifications to do it, He knows other people in that business that have lesser qualifications than him, but because he's not in the old boys club, and just doesn't know the right people, he could never even get a chance. So, okay? So he's not married to the job he has now. So then he says, hey, why should you have to give up your business like that? That's something you built. Why don't I stay home with the kid? 'Cause it's my kid too, right? The sigma be like, it's my kid too. And again, this is an empathetic guy who can cook. Let's say, we'll throw a little bit more of me in there. Let's say he's a certified EMT too. So God forbid if the kid, babies usually don't get hurt, but toddlers get hurt all the time. If the kid gets hurt playing, not only can he, know what to do, but can also stay calm in that situation. This sigma guy is also, he's laid back. He's not the kind of guy that always has to be in charge, but he can take charge when necessary. Like, he's not emasculated by situations where you genuinely and undisputedly know better. He's not going to be like, but you're the woman. I, by definition, know more. No, but in certain situations where, perhaps you're not good in a crisis, or he's trained to handle that crisis, he's going to take charge because it needs to be done, especially in times of chaos. Sigmas are good in chaos and emergencies. Like if the house is on fire, Well, let's just say for a second it is me. Like if I'm married and I have a wife and a kid in a house and we wake up to the smoke alarms going off and the house is on fire, yeah, I'm going to take charge and say, this is how it's going to go. You're going to follow my lead, not because I'm male, but because I'm a trained firefighter and, I'm trained to handle that, to what to do in that situation. All right. So the Sigma, he's going to stay home with the baby. And he loves babies. Always has. Babies love him. So he's not emasculated at all that he makes less money than you. He doesn't care what other people say either about him making less money than you. All he cares about is as long as you don't care, you, his wife. If you, the wife, don't care that you make more money than him, then there's no problem with it. Then, okay, she makes more money, whatever. So he's staying home with the kid because in his mind, what more value can this guy bring? I mean, think about it. If a woman who wants money, any man with money can give her money. You don't have to be a certain type of person. You just have to have a certain amount of assets. I think, personally, and correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, that says a lot, if a woman is like, if a woman is happy to leave her baby with the baby's father, because what's more important than that baby? So as the man, my primary role would be to care and protect the most important thing to not only my wife but to me. Like, what comes before that? Like, how selfish would I be in that situation to be like, well, you make more than enough for us to be comfortable. Like, we're good, we're not struggling, and the guy in this scenario, he's still got some side hustles going. If he's a model, maybe he does a photo shoot a couple times a month. Maybe he's if he's working for the nonprofit, he's part-time doing a little bit of what he can from home. He's got something coming in, but not much. And in the scenario, you also have to factor in, like, let's say he's working at the nonprofit and he decides to stay full-time. Well, now you have to have childcare. So then, because you're not making as much, if you think, well, but we got to hustle and get that money, Well, if you're both working, you have your combined salary, but you also then have to subtract childcare costs. So if the guy's making, say, 60 grand and you're spending 30 grand more, 30 grand a year in childcare, well, then he's really, making 30 added onto your 150 and really is 30 grand before taxes. Let's say is 20 grand more a year. Well, say 15, because he's getting some money. Some money's coming in. So is roughly 12, 15 grand a year to you worth it, having your child being raised by a stranger? Because even the most skilled nanny or whatever, it is still somebody caring for that child as a job. They have no biological imperative. You, the mother, do, and the father does as well, has a biological imperative to take care of that kid and protect it. That's the other traditional male role, is protector. And in my opinion, I don't think anybody would be more protective of a little baby girl than the baby's dad. The mother too, they would be equally as protective, but I'm saying in a situation where someone tried to mess with the kid, like a 2-year-old, is in the park and some creep comes up to the 2-year-old, who would you, and this is real danger. This is someone who, it may turn violent. Who's better suited to handle that situation? The 110 pound 5'3" woman, or the 6 foot guy who weighs 170 pounds? I'm trying to give myself a little protector role. Got to be a little traditional, right? But yeah, the guy, and then you get to come home from your job that you love every day, and dinner's cooked, and you see how happy the baby is. Like, you see how happy the most important thing in your life is taken care of, and the guy pays attention to you. And as a Sigma, he does like little things pretty much every day to show his affection, like things most men don't notice, don't have to be told to. That's how we show affection, and will know every day that's like, wow, he's really, still into me, because most guys don't even notice that. Or, as opposed to the top G who might disappear for 3 days out with one of his girlfriends. But don't worry, when he comes home, he'll have a $25,000 Fendi bag for you. That makes it all better, right? So, in these two scenarios, which would you choose and why? Is hypergamy largely a myth, or is it the norm? Does money trump all in what women want? If the guy has the other stuff that most women say they want in a man, 6 foot, 6 pack, measuring good down there, it's important. We're not getting in the numbers. I don't know you all that well. What else? Empathy, loyalty. He's not going to cheat, that kind of thing. He doesn't have like a checkered past, doesn't have kids to another woman, because that can get awkward. Baby mama drama. I'm just curious. I think that these red pill communities are largely wrong about hypergamy. It certainly does exist, but I think it's a small group of women that are seeking that are overrepresented in the media. But let's find out in the comments below. So remember, like and subscribe. If you want me to clarify anything in this video, please do. But let's dispel the myths of the red pill community, because I don't like the picture they paint. It makes me sad. And also it makes a lot of people look bad, and shallow and materialistic. Particularly I'm asking on my channel, because, a lot of my channel are empathic feeler types. So, it's like we're not worried about what the sensors are doing. So what would the feelers do in this situation? Please let me know.